Build show today, one of my favorite topics, framing. Now, specifically framing with SIPs, structural insulated panels. This is a cutaway, so you can kind of see what we're talking about. It's a panel that usually has a giant amount of foam, like look at that roof panel, holy cow, or this 2x6 wall panel. A ton of insulation with a sandwich of structural sheathing on both sides and some structural lumber as well. On the Build Show today, we're going to go into 6 reasons why I think you should consider SIPs construction for your next framing job, including built-in monopoly framing. We're going to talk about that and 5 other things. Today's Build Show is sponsored by Extreme Panel. Let's get going. All right, guys, I actually have a job site to visit with you in Oklahoma. I couldn't make it out, so I sent my bearded friend Mark out to the job site. Let's go watch together, and I will be pausing the video to show you the 6 points and make some kind of observations about why, in particular, SIPs is a fantastic choice for a well-built, high-performance house. All right, let's jump in with Mark Wille on the job site.
Hey everyone, Mark Wille here. We're in Oklahoma. This is a structurally insulated panel home. It's done by our...
All right, we're pausing already. Sorry, Mark. By the way, isn't that beard awesome on Mark? The first thing is that monopoly framing. Look at this picture right here. This is a drone shot looking down. You can see all the walls are framed already. It's basically the same wall structure you can see right here. We've got these nice, thick 2x6 style walls with a ton of continuous insulation on the walls. And then they're gonna put a giant bead of sealant on top of all those walls before the roof panels get put on. So the first thing I really like about SIPs is it's basically built-in monopoly framing. We're gonna get a nice tight envelope, and we're gonna get a really good exterior insulation structure on the whole outside of the house with very little thermal bridging. Let's keep going.
Our friends at Extreme Panel Technologies, it allows the factory work to get done. When it gets delivered to the site, all the structure, the sheathing is all put together. The assembly happens by the on-site team. That allows for a quicker install. Throughout this video, you're going to meet the architect as well as the local builder. Let's get going. Hey, Josh, how's it going?
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Awesome. One of the unique things that you guys do is you save time, but you also deliver a durable, resilient shell. We're going to get into that today, but for the viewers, you're looking at a 2x6 wall. Very standard construction. But the 2x6 from Extreme is an effective R26.
That's correct. Yep. Whole wall R value. Yep.
Great. And you guys work from the beginning, as well as the changes throughout, to craft the openings for the doors, the openings for the windows at the proper sizes, built-in headers.
Yep.
And that shell, as we know it, can handle extreme conditions.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking up to 200-mile-an-hour winds we can design for. So I mean, those are high winds, especially in areas of tornadoes.
It's been tested for
It's all tested.
Right.
Yep.
And so they project a 2x4
At our wall system.
at the wall, and it's coming at this. This is OSB and APS. It's coming at that, and what is the result?
I mean, basically, it just can't crack the outside skin.
All right, that's number 2 right there. Monopoly number 1, built-in monopoly framing. But the extreme weather and loads that these guys can engineer into your SIPs construction from the factory, that's a really big deal. To hear him say this could withstand up to 200-mile-an-hour winds and a 2x4 cannon blasted at the house, that means that we could potentially withstand a hurricane, maybe even a tornado, and all that flying debris. Now, we're gonna wanna make sure we specify some projectile resistant windows as well if you're in Hurricane Alley or Tornado Alley. But that's a really big deal. That's number 2 for me.
And create a break point within the panel.
So it's a
solid system.
shell.
Yep, exactly right.
Got it. Now we get to the roof, and you have to, they're from Minnesota, right? So they understand snow loads. We're in Oklahoma, and on this home, we get to witness a 2x10 at an R40?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's really substantial. Outside of that, there's other conditions.
All right, sorry to keep pausing, but this is the next point I want to make. Number 3, insulation values can be insane. 2x6 wall construction, we can get an R26 effective R value. And 2x10 roof construction, we're getting an R40. And that's not a regular R40, that's really a continuous R40. So it's not like having 2x10s with, let's say, a big thick bat in between them. That's a giant layer of EPS foam giving us an R40 on the roof. That's a really big deal when it comes to insulation values.
Yep, well, we have snow loads or different R values for locations of the build. You know, in Minnesota, we got to have an R49 on that roof to meet energy codes. Right. So, I mean, we got to have that 12-inch panel.
So in this case, the effective value is actually exceeding what the code is looking for, and we anticipate a lot of people exceeding codes. But it's not just what the code offers. When you're here inside of the home, even without the windows indoors, and you'll experience that shortly, it's quiet inside already. That Yeti cooler, as they describe it, right? That continuous insulation there is stopping the outside noise of, let's say, a lawnmower or a pump truck coming through, and that's not transferring to the inside.
That's correct. Yep, and then you have no air moisture. None of that stuff's going through that wall system because the air tightness. Yep. So the healthiness, the performance of that build is going to be superior.
I can't wait to meet the architect on this. I'm going to go explore on the inside a little bit.
Okay.
And we'll catch you in a
Sounds
little bit.
great. See you soon.
All right, hunters, I'm finally here. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Mark.
So right out of the gate, the space feels a lot bigger than it is, but I have to tell you, doing the right size, I got to commend you for that.
Thank you.
So many times you see this, you know, very grandeur of a space and it's not effective. This is what I would classify as a right size home. Mm-hmm. You kind of hit all the bells and whistles.
Mark, that's kind of what we were going for. We didn't want to be too grandiose, but we wanted a smart system that functioned and flowed well for the house.
Good.
And for the family that we're going to be putting in here. The extreme panel, when we met Josh and Matt, the builder on site, they really impressed us with the quality and the science behind the panels.
Yeah.
My first SIP build, the ease of construction has been mind-blowing. It's been fantastic.
You're local to the community. We're in Oklahoma. And you searched out different materials and ways to build. It's when, at that point, you found Matt working on a project and those panels happen to be from Extreme Panel.
Correct. So born and raised here in town, found this infill lot that needed a new house put in. And when I was trying to figure out how to build a new house, I was going through of how do I eliminate time of construction. One of the things that we found driving around West Texas was this panel house going up, and we had no idea what it was. Met Matt, the contractor, and he got us put in line with Josh with Extreme Panel, and they're the ones who kind of told us about this and sold us on their product. And then we saw them at the build show last year in person, and from that point, we were pretty much sold. And so we pulled the trigger, and we stood this up in about 5 days. We just finished putting the roof on last Monday.
All right, let me pause right there. I think that's number 4 for me, speed. If you think about a house being built in just a matter of a couple days, going from a foundation to basically a dried-in shell, speed is a really big deal when it comes to SIPs. I think this project was somewhere between 5 and 6 total days till it was totally dried in. And you're gonna hear him say in a minute, that also means if we can get a good window, we might not have a single drop of rain hit this house. So everything can be 100% dry. That's a really big deal. And remember, time equals money. When we're building a house, we're typically paying an interest-only construction loan. And every single month that it takes longer, we're paying interest on the money that we've loaned so far. So if we can frame a house like this in 5 days instead of maybe 15 or more framing days, By dropping that cycle time, we're really saving money. And remember, this is also fully insulated once it's done framing as well. So we can drop those insulation days, which anywhere could be as quick as maybe 1 or 2 days. It could be maybe 3 or 4 days if we have different subs coming. A spray foam sub for the roof and maybe a bat or a bibs contractor for the wall. That could easily take an extra week. So we're ultimately saving a fair amount of time. Let's keep going and see what else the architect and Matt the builder have to say.
Friday, so.
Bringing in the benefits of panelized construction of the SIPs, bringing in that offsite world, you also brought it back to what I consider welcoming and the time-honored tradition of post and beam.
Correct.
And we can see above us that these glue lamps stand out. You want these personified later on.
I'm going to pause Mark right there. Mark's a former frame carpenter, so of course he points out the framing and the real wood. This is a bonus for me. I didn't think this was one of the 6 necessarily, but that post and beam and having those exposed beams, you're seeing that ridge beam, and then that next beam down that's spanning outside to outside is going to carry that roof panel load. I really like that look too. I think this is a big deal. I'm going to call this a bonus, not my top 6, but I really do like that kind of built-in beam exposed look, that post and beam look. That's very, very cool.
All the other finishes come in. You feel the structure, but you also get the joy of that wood supporting overhead. It's comfort factor.
It's comfort factor. You know, you get the quality and the feel of the wood, but then I think the science behind the build is utmost important. So we went with an untraditional pier and beam type foundation that has a wood subfloor to save on energy costs and efficiencies, along marrying with the rest of the post and beam build with the SIP panel install. I think is a nice blend of old world design with new age technology. One of the other things that, you know, SIP provides is that if I ever wanted to rip out all these walls and relay out the whole house, we could relay it out, replumb everything, re-electrify everything, and you could have a completely new layout if you know, down the future you wanted to change it.
And let me comment on that. That's because if you notice, all of the exterior walls are load bearing, all the interior walls are non-load bearing, and this house has a crawl space underneath too. I believe this is a conditioned crawl space house. So that means we could get underneath the house, plug in new plumbing, new electrical, whatever. All the interior walls you see are just 2-bys. Those can be ripped out, they're not structural. I just wanted to verify that so you guys understood what the architect was talking about here.
I'm gonna go look for Matt.
Yeah, go find him. He's supposed to be working.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, Matt, I'm so excited to meet you here.
Good to see you, sir. Yeah.
All right, so we'll get into the project, but first things first, I gotta know, why SIPs and how did you meet our friends at Extreme Panel?
Yeah, so I'll actually answer the second part first. Is I got to know Perry was my first point of contact from Extreme Panel. And he knew I was a builder, and he invited me out to the Summit build in Arkansas. So I went there, got to meet more of the team. And,
we met too.
And we did meet. Obviously, you've met so many, but we did meet there. And it was actually the video was from the build show is where I actually saw Perry and reached out to him on YouTube. So this whole thing was actually really cool that it all collided at the Summit build. And so my wife and I, we took a little vacation in Arkansas and learned all about Extreme Panel and saw the build go up in 20 minutes that you were speaking about earlier. And it was awesome. And
side note, I really wish I had a beard. I feel very unmasculine compared to Matt and Mark here. But he's talking about a Summit build, this thing that they do on a regular basis. They actually have one coming up in January that you could come to. I'll be there as well. There'll be a link in the description if you want to learn more about that. Let's keep going with Matt.
And it went right up. And so we saw that, but I also was starting to understand more of the science behind it. And I was like, man, this high performance build and that speed, we've really got to take a serious look at this.
Connecting those dots, you're able to think about how many more builds you can do, but also mitigating risk for you and your clients and the projects you work on because of that speed?
Yes, I think speed is only one factor of many facets of why we've chosen the system. I can have a smaller team. We can focus more on not just the envelope being high performance because that's coming from Extreme. What we get to focus now as the builder is actually making sure our lines are straight, everything's tight and plumb, and we get to, whatever like Hunter here, his desires on certain, design aspects for the architecture, we get to focus on that more for him as what actually people get to experience when they walk into their home. So it allows us to get the envelope up quick. In the heat of Texas and Oklahoma, you want to get an air conditioning unit in that window as soon as possible, start cooling the crew down.
He's not wrong.
Also, you get inclement weather, right? We don't have all this exposed now to moisture. We can start on framing, even though you saw the wrap wasn't on. Normally we would do that first, but it was one for the video, but we could keep the crew running by getting the framing going. So it gives us a lot of versatility as a builder, options, but also knowing that at the end of the day, it's stronger, it went up faster, and ultimately we have a satisfied customer. That's why we specifically partner with Extreme.
The joy of SIPs is the impact to the neighboring homes is a shorter duration. There's not dumpsters full of this, that, and the other.
All right, I got to pause right there. We didn't show that very well on this video, but when I've seen Extreme panel builds, the waste is tiny. That's number 5 for me. I mean, we're talking about some straps that need to get thrown away, maybe some boxes that are left over from some screws that you're using on the job site, but almost no lumber, maybe a brace or 2 that you don't need, and that's about it. The waste is tiny when you do a system like this, and that's real dollars. I've seen houses in framing that'll have 2 dumpsters full of random stuff from framing that's left over and offcuts. So by really reducing that, that's not just your money at the front, that's your money on the back paying for it to get thrown away. Let's keep going.
Super clean job sites. I saw how your team works. It is very clean, but it's not just what we've experienced inside, outside. You don't have a bundle of this, a bundle of this, and a bundle of that, and then the drops and the scraps that accumulate when you're cutting the rafters and when you're trimming off each of the joists and the plates. Correct. Because you have that all set.
Correct.
So you had site work orientated.
Absolutely.
But wow, talk to me through the part that I'm enjoying, and Hunter and I covered this, but you got the post and beam here.
Yes.
The carpenters in you had to really love how that integrates with the large panels here.
Absolutely. Well, I actually come from more of a background in post-frame construction. So then when I went and studied SIP, it just blended really well. You get these nice exposed beams. We don't have a truss system that we have to hang each one or run rafters. All that skipped out of the way. And my best part, we don't have to worry about any insulation in that crawl space on top. So now it's in the envelope, and we're done, right? We get to start slapping a roof on, putting up, gypsum board or running electric. You get to do those types of deals faster instead of, all the man hours and making sure, because we're taking variables out. So that if you add a truss, that's adding another variable. Is that set correctly? Is it plumbed, right? With this, we set an 8-foot panel that spanned almost 22 feet. And that section is done and squared away. And we love that.
And I think you all put this together, team of 3.
Yes.
6 days.
Yes.
Some days longer than others.
Yes. Yep.
Right, there are adjustments needed. But the shell is the structure. And again, normally in a build, we see a lot of trusses and that coming together. All we see is a glue lamb, and a glue lamb, and 6 posts.
Yes.
You got some ideas for this area of Oklahoma and Texas, and let everyone know what those are.
Absolutely. So at Monty Custom Contracting, our desire is to be one of the staple, if not the staple, SIP home builder, as well as we do commercial builds with it as well. And we want to be known as the specialized SIP home builder for this local area.
That's great
awesome,
goal.
Matt.
I hope to find more people with that intentionality of you and your crew. The good thing is the more of these you do, the more times I get to come visit.
Absolutely. We'd love that, and you're welcome anytime. So
We'll catch you around at the next one.
all right, take care, man.
Josh, you probably heard part of that conversation with Matt.
Yeah.
So the height in there, spatially, it feels really good. It's really interesting. It's probably about at the top of the gable, about 20 feet.
Yeah.
Let's pause right there. The last point for me, number 6 that you just saw in that clip right there, built-in conditioned attics. With that insulation at the roof line with SIPs, that means all that space underneath the roof is automatically part of the air-conditioned envelope. I've got a huge amount of insulation here, huge amount of insulation here. I've got built-in air tightness with a system like this. Every SIP's house, depending on the window package, which is really the leaky part of the envelope, you should easily get below 1 ACH 50, if not even tighter, automatically by choosing a system like this, which means all that ductwork, all that AC that's in your conditioned attic is going to live in a very healthy place. It's not going to have condensation issues. We're not going to have microbial growth and other things that happen by putting your ducts in hot attics like we see all over the South. I really like that built-in monopoly framing like I talked about. And now all those ducts, everything that's in your attic is part of the air-conditioned space. So depending on how you design it, you could have a giant attic space that maybe doesn't even have any mechanicals because you've got a basement, depending on what part you are. Now you've got conditioned storage space. That's definitely number 6 for me. Let's finish up the video.
Is that a height that's normal? I mean, that's something that you guys are also achieving in engineering.
Yeah, well, I mean, typically when you have a conventional build roof, you'd see a flat ceiling at 9 feet. But what this house has done is created capabilities of a kind of a loft area because of the spaciousness and the openness of the SIP roof creates it to feel more open, you know, bigger. So, I mean, you're gaining the square footage within the home.
All that square footage is now open. Yeah. And the post and beam does that too.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. Y'all have been in business for 35-ish years.
That's correct.
One of the unique things to me is the amount of projects you guys have done, and I've seen the few hundred square foot ADU. I've also seen these very large, magnificent builds. What stands out for you on this project that Extreme helped to pull off for this architect who happens to be the owner and this builder who number 2 for Matt now?
Yes, I think one of the couple of the cool things that we did here is got in front of the design and helped value engineer the system and tried to, you know, maximize panel sizes, maximize panel lengths, get them to achieve a higher R value than they're normally using around here. And the preciseness of the package, preciseness of Matt, the builder, the education that we've brought to him to help air seal and make this thing as best performance that it can be are a few things that can stand out in my mind.
But that's still advancement in code, increased costs. But SIP has always been in front of that, and it's alleviating those extra members, that extra waste, alleviating that extra time, but also you're building for what will be that code.
Yep, we're building better.
Yeah, you're building beyond the norm. People get to experience that while they're in the house, while they sell the house, if it gets sold, and while the next occupants, as they call it, I hate that word, but what they get to enjoy for years to come, as well as the changes that happen. You guys are wonderful to work with, and those builder trainings, that helps connect the builder to your team so that that relationship begins. There's another part to this. Not always is it the builder that calls you guys. Sometimes the really informed marketplace says, we want an Extreme panel house and we need a builder. That also comes your way.
That's right, that's right. And those, a lot of educated individuals that are building their houses come to us first, and then we kind of connect them with more of a local builder to help them understand that the builder understands the performance side of things, to help with sizing the heating system, the cooling system, you know, and bring it to a level of a performance build that homeowner really wants in the end.
Please reach out to our friends at Extreme Panel. They're always involved in projects with us year by year, week by week. We always have more content coming out. Like our friends from Extreme Panels, when you watch their videos, hit that like button, and we'll see you at the next Builder Summit.
Sounds great.
Let's wrap this up. 6 reasons I gave you while we were talking about the video. I think those are really good reasons. I'm going to end with, if you're a builder watching this, Extreme Panel wants to partner with you just like they did with Matt, so that when they've got inquiries in that part of Oklahoma, they're saying, hey, give Matt a call. He's a great local builder that's used to working with us. If you're a homeowner watching this, and I know we do have some homeowners occasionally watching, reach out to Extreme Panel. They have an amazing network of builders around the country. They also have a bunch of guys that I've met that do traveling framing. So if you had a local builder or you want to GC the house yourself, you could actually hire somebody to assemble the panels who isn't local and would be willing to come into town, especially because what we talked about, speed is a really big deal. In a matter of a few days, you can be dried in. So you could get somebody who's really experienced with Extreme Panel to come in pretty much wherever you are in the US. And let's end with this. I think that's one of the things I really like about this system is this kind of built-in performance. You know, we talked about monopoly framing. I built my house with monopoly framing. I have an experienced crew who's been working with me for almost 20 years now in my home building company. I don't have a lack of fantastic subs, but if you're building remotely, if you're building on property, you may not have that same network I do. So that kind of almost guaranteed performance of super thick insulation and super airtight shell that you get with Extreme Panel, that's a really big deal. And lastly, about Extreme Panel specifically, there are other SIPs manufacturers out there, but I can tell you not all of them have the level of experience and professionalism that Extreme Panel does, and these guys are shipping all over the country, so I'm a big proponent of these guys. Link in the description if you're interested in coming to their summit, which I believe is in January. Hit that subscribe button below. We've got new content here every Tuesday and every Friday. And oh, by the way, over on thebuildshow.com, we have like 20 new videos a week now. We've blown up. I'd love to have you subscribe to our newsletter so you can know what's new at the site every single week. That being said, follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.